I hated the Amex Platinum Credit Card until I discovered this. A quick note before we continue: ads may play during this video. Your support keeps this content free. Now let's jump in. I will be honest with you. I genuinely disliked the Amex Platinum Card for a long time. The annual fee felt like a penalty. The credits felt fragmented and inconvenient. And the overall value proposition looked, on the surface, like an expensive status symbol dressed up as a financial tool. I was wrong. Not because the card magically improved, but because I was evaluating it through the wrong framework entirely. The moment I started analyzing it the way an institutional advisor would, through the lens of capital efficiency, cost basis reduction, and strategic cash flow architecture, everything changed. By the end of this video, you are going to understand the specific mechanism that transformed how I see the Amex Platinum Card. You will know exactly how to calculate whether this card has a positive or negative net position in your financial architecture. You will understand how it interacts with entity structuring, IRS deductibility, and float period optimization. And you will walk away with a clear, honest verdict on who this card genuinely serves and who it does not. The analysis I am about to share reflects the kind of strategic thinking that premium wealth advisory firms charge $4,000 to $5,000 per engagement to provide. Pull up your notes app, open a notepad, or grab a pen, because the framework I am walking you through today is not something you will want to reconstruct from memory. The single biggest reason people hate the Amex Platinum Card, and I was firmly in this camp, is that they evaluate it as a spending rewards card rather than what it actually is. When you approach the Amex Platinum as a points accumulation engine, the annual fee looks deeply unfavorable compared to alternatives. The base earning rate on everyday spend is not competitive with category bonus cards or flat-rate cashback instruments. If that is your primary use case, you will feel the friction immediately. But here is what shifted my perspective entirely. The Amex Platinum is not primarily a spending card. It is a cost basis reduction and access infrastructure card. That distinction, the Amex Platinum common misreading that treats it as a rewards accumulation vehicle, is the source of almost universal frustration with this product. Once you reframe it correctly, the entire value architecture becomes legible. The card is designed to offset recurring costs you are already incurring, not to reward incremental spending volume. That is a fundamentally different product category, and it requires a fundamentally different evaluation methodology. The Amex Platinum credit architecture is layered in a way that rewards structured, deliberate users and punishes passive ones. This is by design. American Express has engineered a product where the annual fee is theoretically recoverable through statement credits, but only for cardholders who actively manage those credit categories as part of a broader financial routine. The credits span digital entertainment, airline incidentals, hotel stays, wellness, and lifestyle categories. On a gross basis, the aggregate credit value historically exceeds the annual fee for users who fully utilize every category. The challenge is that most cardholders recover only a fraction of available credits, either because the categories do not align with their organic spending patterns, or because they simply do not track utilization with sufficient discipline. The result is a card that consistently underdelivers for passive users while quietly generating exceptional returns for strategic ones. That asymmetry is not accidental. It is the financial architecture of the product. Here is one of the most underappreciated dimensions of the Amex Platinum, and the place where my own evaluation fundamentally changed. The Amex Platinum float period value. Specifically for high-income professionals, executives, and business owners managing significant monthly expense flows. Creates a genuine cash flow management tool that has measurable financial impact. American Express charge card products, including the Platinum, historically operate on a full pay-on statement model rather than a revolving credit model. That structure provides a natural billing cycle float, typically between 28 and 55 days, depending on your statement close date relative to your transaction timing. For an S-Corp owner, LLC operator, or sole proprietor managing quarterly estimated tax obligations under IRS guidelines, timing large deductible expenses into the correct tax period while deferring actual cash outflow by several weeks is a legitimate and frequently used cash flow optimization strategy. The Platinum's float period effectively extends your liquidity window on every charge without the cost of revolving interest. That is a real financial benefit, one that does not appear in any marketing material, but that sophisticated cardholders have been using for decades. Now, a critical point that most content creators completely overlook. The Amex Platinum Card is a personal card. It is issued to an individual, not a business entity. For business owners who operate through an LLC, S-Corp, or C-Corp, the entity structure and Amex Platinum interaction requires careful management. Running deductible business expenses through a personal card does not automatically disqualify the deduction, but it does create IRS substantiation complexity, and more importantly, it creates commingling risk that can compromise the liability separation your entity structure is designed to provide. The sophisticated approach, and what I would tell a client in a formal advisory engagement, is to use the personal Amex Platinum specifically and exclusively for personal travel, entertainment, and lifestyle expenses. Deductible business travel and entertainment should flow through a dedicated business card within your entity structure, the Amex Business Platinum or a comparable instrument. That separation keeps your personal card benefits clean, maintains entity liability architecture integrity, and simplifies your IRS substantiation trail at year-end. Consult with your CPA or tax advisor on your specific situation, but the structural principle here is foundational. One of the discoveries that genuinely shifted my position on this card was a deep analysis of the Amex Platinum Points transfer liquidity ecosystem. American Express membership rewards is one of the most liquid and versatile points currencies available to individual cardholders in the USD, CAD, and GBP markets. The transfer partner roster, spanning major airline programs including Delta SkyMiles, British Airways Executive Club, Air Canada Aeroplan, and hotel programs including Marriott Bonvoy and Hilton Honors, creates what institutional analysts would characterize as optionality value. Optionality in a financial context means the ability to choose the highest value redemption path at the time of execution rather than being locked into a single channel. Cashback cards eliminate optionality. Portal-dependent travel credits compress it. A transferable points currency like membership rewards preserves it. And historically, Amex transfer partner redemptions at premium cabin rates have delivered valuations well above 1 cent per point, particularly on international business and first-class itineraries. For high-income households with significant annual travel budgets, that optionality is not a luxury. It is a capital efficiency mechanism. Let me address the lounge benefit specifically, because it is simultaneously one of the most discussed and most poorly analyzed aspects of this card. The Amex Centurion Lounge productivity ROI conversation is not about free food and comfortable seating. For executives, business owners, and investors who log significant air travel, whether domestically within the United States or across international corridors. The lounge network represents a genuine productivity infrastructure investment. Consider the cost of time calculation. A business owner with a billing rate of $300 to $500 per hour who spends 2 productive working hours in a Centurion lounge on a transit day has generated 3 to 5 times the value of the lounge's implied daily cost in real, measurable output. That is before accounting for the physiological benefit of arriving at a destination rested rather than depleted. The lounge access productivity ROI, when modeled through the lens of executive time value, consistently validates the Amex Platinum's premium positioning for frequent travelers. For someone who flies 4 or fewer times per year, the math looks different. But for the executive running 40 to 60 flight segments annually, this benefit alone begins to justify meaningful annual fee allocation. Let us run the Amex Platinum fee ROI calculation with institutional precision. The annual fee on the Amex Platinum is substantial, one of the highest in the personal card market. At face value, that number is enough to trigger immediate rejection from cardholders who are accustomed to evaluating annual fees against a simple rewards per dollar metric. The correct evaluation framework, however, is net cost of capital after credit recovery. If you systematically capture the available statement credits in categories that align with spending you would incur regardless, travel, digital subscriptions, hotel stays, the effective net annual fee can be reduced substantially. For many active users who fully utilize all available credits, the net fee after recovery is measurably lower than the gross number, and in some cases approaches break-even. At that net cost, the membership rewards accumulation, the lounge access, the global entry or TSA pre-check reimbursement, and the transfer partner optionality are delivered at zero incremental cost. That is a very different value proposition than the gross fee suggests, and it is the calculation that most casual reviewers simply never run. Based on everything I have analyzed, and after years of watching people both succeed and fail with this product, the ideal Amex Platinum cardholder profile is narrow but clear. It is the executive or business owner who travels at least 8 to 12 times per year, who incurs organic spending in at least 3 of the card's credit categories, who maintains a dedicated business card for corporate expenses, and who has the financial discipline to actively manage credit utilization on a monthly basis. For retirees with significant travel budgets and minimal ongoing business obligations, the card can also deliver strong net value, particularly if international business class travel is a consistent component of their lifestyle, and the membership rewards transfer ecosystem provides redemption value they would otherwise pay cash to achieve. For occasional travelers, for cardholders who prefer simplicity over optimization, or for anyone who will not actively track and redeem available credits, this card will consistently disappoint. That is not a failure of the product. It is a mismatch of profile to product design. Before we close, let me give you the critical insights that anchor everything covered in this analysis. First, the Amex Platinum is a cost-basis reduction and access infrastructure card, not a spending rewards card. Evaluating it through the wrong lens is the origin of virtually all legitimate criticism of this product. Second, the float period embedded in the charge card billing structure provides real cash flow management value for business owners and high-income professionals managing quarterly estimated tax obligations. The after-tax value of that float, applied to deductible expenses, exceeds its face value for high marginal rate filers. Consult your qualified tax advisor for your specific situation. Third, Entity structuring discipline is non-negotiable. The Amex Platinum is a personal instrument and must be used as such. Commingling business expenses through a personal card compromises liability separation and creates IRS substantiation complexity. Fourth, membership rewards transfer liquidity, specifically the optionality to redirect points to premium airline and hotel partners at high-value redemption rates, is a capital efficiency mechanism that materially enhances the card's total return profile beyond what any gross annual fee analysis captures. Fifth, the net cost of capital after full credit recovery is the only honest way to evaluate this card's annual fee. Cardholders who run that calculation and fully utilize available credits historically find the effective fee substantially lower than the gross number. And in many cases, the remaining benefits are delivered at near zero incremental cost. Sixth, the card serves a specific and identifiable cardholder profile. Match the profile or change the card. There is no universal answer here, only the right answer for your individual financial architecture. The final verdict on the Amex Platinum card is this: I was wrong to dismiss it, and I was wrong for a specific and instructive reason. I was running the wrong calculation. When I rebuilt the analysis from the correct institutional foundation, net cost of capital, float period value, transfer liquidity optionality, and entity clean expense management, the card moved from a liability in my portfolio to a net positive contributor. That transformation was not about the card changing. It was about the framework changing. And that is exactly what I want you to take away from this video. Run your own numbers. Model your own credit recovery. Audit your travel frequency and lifestyle spending alignment. And then make the decision that your financial profile actually supports, not the one that a surface-level annual fee comparison would lead you to. Please subscribe for more free institutional-grade analysis and credit card strategy that you genuinely will not find anywhere else on YouTube. Click the thumbs up button if this video delivered real value to your financial thinking. And drop your questions or future content requests in the comments. I read every single one, and your input directly shapes what gets covered next. Disclaimer: I am not your financial advisor. This content is for educational purposes only. Please consult with qualified professionals before making any financial decisions.